Hi there, and welcome to this bonus episode of the Gazette's Hockey Inside Out show. I'm Stu Count of the Gazette, and I'm joined by my regular partners here, former Canadiens teammates and 1986 Stanley Cup champions, Chris Nilan and Rick Green. Year 3 of the rebuild here, Rick. What gives you confidence that they're on the right track now, or what makes you think they're not on the right track?
Well, I mean, we've heard a number of times that it's all about developing the players and, you know, their youth, and try to get these kids to play at the NHL level. And, you know, unfortunately, it's not going as planned. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have not got their act together that they were hoping, and, you know, the result is underperforming, and you know, they're hurting the development of themselves as well as the overall team game. And I'm not totally in love with what I'm seeing to date, both as individuals that we look at their development, and just their overall team game is not what I had hoped to see with good structure and organization and consistency. And that's something that I think previously, and as far as early on last year, or the latter part of last year, we saw consistency and energy and determination. And I don't see those same type of things happening each and every night, which is, you know, not what you want to see as a group. So a little disappointed in where they're at. 31 games into the season, and they've got a ways to go. But look, they've shown that they're able to play on a given night. Look at Winnipeg. They showed well there, but the inconsistency is a problem, and trying to get these kids to play up to their A game each and every night seems to be a real challenge at this point.
What do you think, Knuckles?
The question was, sorry,
are they on the right track? Do you think they're on the right track?
Plan on the right track? Is that right?
Yeah.
Listen, you know, I don't know where it came from, but someone said once, it's a 5-year rebuilding plan, right? So everybody thinks 5 years. Well, it takes longer than 5 years. I took a little heat and that's fine. Last week I had Melnick on, and we were talking about it, and we were talking about when they're going to make the playoffs. I said, you know, I think maybe another 3 years. In the third year, maybe, from now.
I agree with you.
You know, I just really feel, so Demidov's coming, the kid Haig. That's great. These guys have to develop too, and hopefully the core of this group is more mature, understanding, seasoned, coming into their primes, and they're able to pull these guys along with them. And they have some experience with them. I still believe, and it was a good sign, and, you know, I love Abba-Jack guy. He's playing well. He started the game last night. I was happy. Couldn't have been happier for the guy. His kid brother scored 3 goals and had 2 assists the other night in Laval, which is a good sign. That kid took down there. These are the type of players that eventually, kind of men-like players, playing like men, you know, that this team is going to need in the future. And you're going to need some experienced, seasoned veterans to come in, and guys who've won before, guys who, those Sean Monahans, you know, guys like that. They're going to need that support, I think. And they got to play a grittier game come playoff time when they get there. And you just don't turn that on. You just don't turn it on. You have to be able to. You look at Edmonton last year in the final, right? They were getting smoked. They bounced back, but in the end, they just didn't have it. They did not have what it takes to win a 7-game series. I don't care what anybody says. In Florida, they circled the wagons, and they got it done in the end. They played their game, that last game. And, you know, that to be able to put that together is not easy. But I think these guys, certainly Hughes and Gordon, they're on the right path. I know they're taking heat and all that this year, but that's Montreal, and people want results. I think they've been patient long enough, but it's going to take a little more. So be a little more patient.
I agree. I mean, year 3, look at Buffalo. 14 years they're going to miss the playoffs in a row now. But I agree. I think it's 5 years until you can judge if the rebuild is working or not. Not whether it's finished, completed. I mean, you look at this year. Marty St. Louis had an interesting thing. He was talking the other day, and he said, the last 2 years the veterans sacrificed a lot, like guys like Gallagher and Anderson who want to win because the focus was all on the youth. And he said this year it's a little bit about the young guys paying back the veterans. Like, we got to try and win now. These guys are nearing the end of their career, and let's try to win. And you look like next season, Dvorak's not going to be here. Armia is not going to be here. David Savard's not going to be here. Jake Evans might not be here. There's going to be more young guys coming in, as you said, Knuckles, and it's going to take time for those guys to develop. But, when those guys, when Gordon and Hughes came in here, they had a lot of mess to clean up.
Oh, yeah, they did. So
that was just to get rid of contracts and mess and get an analytics department and draft players and the cupboard was basically bare. So I think I see a light at the end of the tunnel, Rick. I don't know. I know you're saying they're disappointed this year. I understand because they go up there and want to be in the mix. They're not in the mix. But do you see a light at the end of the tunnel moving forward, Rick?
Well, again, I always judge on looking at individuals, looking at team. The individuals that we anticipated better things from, Doc, Slafkovsky, Newhook. These are guys that they wanted to see some bigger and better things from, and they've been somewhat of a disappointment. And
I think that's the biggest concern right now.
These are supposed to be key guys, and it's not like you have one key guy that's struggling. You've got a number of them, and you take that type of disappointment in their lack of production, and it doesn't fare well for your overall team game and your win losses. So that's a concern. And are they going to be able to flip the switch and say, okay, now I'm able to play better? I'm not sure. I have some concern.
Yeah, I mean, Doc and Newhook, they got those guys to try and speed up the rebuild, right? Get some guys Newhook's, I think they're still trying to figure out where he fits best on the team. And Doc, I mean, he's just really struggling this season. Knuckles, he's got to be a lot better for this rebuild to work.
Honestly, I feel bad for the kid. I really do. And I know people say, they make all this money, blah, blah. He's struggling. He's in his head. He's down on himself. Listen, and I'll say it. Back in our day, you had one or two young guys. You could coddle them. You could bring them in. You could take care of them. Now, it's a lot of young guys. It's like, okay, and here's
not a lot of guys to coddle them.
Yeah, and, a lot of, a major injury like he had, and he's trying to come back, and now he's in his head, and he's struggling with confidence, and people say, oh, he's not assertive. He's not, and you see it at times. He just looks like he's lost his confidence, and it's so hard to watch. It's painful for the kid, painful for people who really have been in a position like that to watch someone go through it. It's not fun. I feel bad for him. I really do. I'd love to be able to talk to him. Honest to God, I would. I'd love to, because I feel bad for him, and I know. Listen, that's what those coaches and everybody gets paid for, team psychologists, whatever, management. I get it, but I'd love to talk to him and maybe help him out. I just give him a little insight into maybe hearing something different than what he's hearing from there. But that's not my job. But again, and as far as Slav, I'm not worried about him. He's still a young kid. He's so big. Everybody looks at him a certain way. Like, he should be. He'll get there. He's gonna get there. And I'll say it. When he's not skating, he's not gonna do shit. He's gotta move his feet.
Well, that's it for this Hockey Inside Out Show bonus episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please make sure you like and subscribe to the Hockey Inside Out YouTube channel. Go to MontrealGazette.com/newsletters to sign up for the Hockey Inside Out newsletter. And of course, go to HockeyInsideOut.com every day for all the latest Canadiens news. Also, if you have a bonus question you'd like Knuckles and Rick to answer in a future bonus episode, please put it in the comments section below.